the Article 6 of the Paris Agreement is an integral part of the agreement. We cannot implement the agreement fully unless all articles are being implemented. The NDCs, adaptation, loss and damage, getting the financing, but also bringing in the markets and the non-market mechanisms to implement, to get the private sector on board. So we need them to enhance NDCs and to make existing NDCs operational. They have to be on board. The negotiators have been working very hard over the past 3 years trying to get it going. It is a very complicated subject. So first of all, we need to build trust, because a lot of what hinders the negotiations is that when a party proposes something, the other sides may be saying, why are they proposing it? Is it to make more money out of the process? Is it to hide something? And instead of seeing what is beneficial of it. So obviously, I think we need to start with a blank slate and build that empathy, that trust, that obviously each country's private sector has a different circumstances at home, different local circumstances. How do you bring those on board to allow you to enter into it? I don't think any of the parties here just want to make money out of this process. Obviously, they need to bring their own private sector on board to be able to contribute both nationally and then, of course, internationally to the process. But I think it is building the trust. It is going to be the important part of it. The Warsaw International Mechanism was the brainchild of the Alliance of Small Island States. We were the ones who wanted it into the Paris Agreement. We are the ones who were speaking about it years ago, back in 1992, when we were developing the convention. We recognized all the way back then that no matter how much mitigation you did to reduce emissions of greenhouse gases, no matter how much adaptation you would be undertaking, because of the historical emissions that our grandparents did decades ago, those emissions are now coming to bear fruit here, and we are now seeing loss and damage that was unavoidable. So we recognized it then. So now, when we created the Warsaw International Mechanism, it had 3 pillars: gathering information and planning to avert climate change and loss and damage. However, we never did the 3rd part, which is addressing loss and damage. And I think that is what the review should bring out. See what was good in the first 2 aspects, but then challenge the mechanism to deal with addressing loss and damage. And it goes beyond finance. Some people think we're only talking about money, but no, it is the technology that you may need to implement to address loss and damage. It is building our capacity to address loss and damage, but more importantly, international cooperation. Because if you are a large developed country that has suffered loss and damage, you can take the response measures of moving your population, of do desalination of salt water, or do anything that addresses the loss and damage. But if you are a poor, isolated community in the middle of the Pacific, how can they do it? And I think the international response under the Warsaw International Mechanism can do that, can address that issue.